The first night that we're there, our balcony, it was an Airbnb, and our balcony literally overlooked the Acropolis. I mean, it was just stunning. And that's kind of the beauty of Airbnbs. And we kissed.
Hi, Jen.
I
Welcome to Yodoozy. This is really nice to finally connect with you. And thanks a lot that you accepted the invite for the interview and, agreed to share your experience with us and the viewers. How are you?
I am good. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm definitely excited to talk through all things travel because I know we all miss it. So my name is Jennifer Brunacini. I'm here today because I followed my dream to go travel the world back in 2014. I've always had a passion for travel. I know we'll touch on that, but my career has always been in sales and marketing. And back in 2014, I had achieved everything, and I was just in this bubble of comfort. And I made a decision that year to go see the world, to break my own bubble, go see the world. I want to like expand, see new cultures, like really see the world instead of just where I was. And so that's what started me on this path of travel, like really a lot of travel. And I'll definitely get into the story, but that year I ended up moving to Paris, France, because it was just like, why not? Why not do it now? Like, if I'm ever going to do it, it's right now. And from that point, I've been to about 23 different countries just from 2014 till now, hundreds of cities. I really like was Dora the Explorer in Europe. I mean, everywhere, like every week I was, somewhere new, seeing new things. And yeah, and what an experience. It was honestly the best decision I have ever made. A courageous act for sure
Yeah,
doing that
we can
because
see that. This is really wholesome. Okay,
yeah.
so, let's start with the most obvious question. So, how did it all start? As in, when was the first time that you discovered you have a serious passion for traveling? Like, we know that it was 2014, as you said that, but then, there's this click we get, and we are like, okay, we have to do it, something like that.
Yeah, so really, like, I think it started at a young age for me, to be honest. I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico originally. And we'd always go on little trips around to different states. My dad would always take us to baseball games. And I think that's when like the wanderlust of like, or this idea of exploration and seeing new things and trying new foods and things like that kind of sparked within me at a very young age. That was just in the US at that time. But still, I mean, even a new state is a
Yeah,
different experience.
the seeds were already there.
Yeah, yeah. My parents really planted that exploration seed at a young age for me, which I'm so grateful for. Um, but I think really where the travel passion fired for me was 2014. And it was really rooted in really wanting to expand my environment, my horizons. Really, I think we can get really comfortable in what we know and what we see on a regular basis. And we want to go see things, but to really go do it, you know, um, it is travel to me is the best education. And
It is, it is.
yeah, you just can't understand things the way you can unless you see it and you're standing there and you're looking at it. So, really, 2014 is the year I decided I am going to go see more things. And that included the trip to Paris, which was like that pivotal life moment that changed my life forever.
Okay. So, what do you do when you're not traveling? But then,
Yeah, so I mean, this last year, I think everybody's kind of been, stagnant or whatever. But typically, I mean, what I had the opportunity to do is I convinced my work to let me take my job with me when I moved to Paris. So I would actually be working while traveling, which
while
was,
traveling, so
yeah. So I would just work wherever I had internet connection, which is what's amazing is that
like most of the places, so it
yeah,
won't be a
now
problem.
it's like a
Yeah.
norm, which is a beautiful part of what's happened. We have the opportunity to do that. But back then, wasn't a position in the company. There wasn't anybody located in Paris, so I just worked wherever I traveled, and that's what I would do. But really, for me, like currently, I really like to go and explore my environment in general, like going for walks, going for runs, connecting with nature, even going to like new cities in my area that I'm like, oh wow, I didn't even know this was here. Just that exploration.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
I'm getting the pure Dora the Explorer vibes actually.
definitely.
So, as you said, you have been to 23 countries, which is literally like a wholesome number in its own. So, which one has been your favorite till now? There must be a one that, is on the top list, which you always prefer no matter what, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, it's so impossible to answer that question sometimes, but I would say that the country that owns my heart is Italy.
That's
And it's not just because I'm Italian. There's not a bias there, but just the food and the culture and just the diversity in all the different cities and the landscapes between that. Even like Sicily from the mainland, you go to the Colosseum and you're just like wow, and Florence and wow, and there's just so much wow to it. And just I love watching the Italians how they speak with their hands. They literally do that, and it's amazing to be a part of that
yeah.
culture.
That's
Yeah,
a bit of
exactly.
stereotype,
It's a
but then
real thing.
I,
A very
I
real thing.
usually take care of things like that so that it won't look a bit stereotypical. But then, yeah, there's a beauty to Italy.
Yeah.
So, you must have some memories, right? You have been to so many places. You must have some, not some memory, but among all the places, you must have this one memory that, impacted you the most. So, if you would like to share something about that.
Oh man. Yeah, I think sometimes I have so many memories, it's like hard to remember some of the memories, and then I look at pictures and I'm like, "Oh, wow, that." Um, but if I had to think of, I'll just give you a top 3 if that's okay, like
Okay, yeah,
really
yeah, that's cool.
impactful moment.
That's cool.
Okay.
That's cool.
So the pivotal moment of being in Paris on a girls' trip for my first time in May of 2014. First trip to Paris, like I said. My girlfriends had gone on a champagne tour, and I don't drink. So I was like, I'm going to stay back and explore the city. And I did that. And I went for like a 2-hour run, just running aimlessly. And I ended up at the park at Notre Dame. And I'm sitting there, and the sun is hitting my face. And I just have this deep intuitive knowing of like, wow, I could live here. I
Okay,
could do
that was a
this.
major point.
Yeah. And it was like, why not? Why not do that? And literally from that point forward, I got back to my office in California and I was like, I'm gonna do it. And I did that December 2014.
That's a
Literally,
life-changing moment.
oh, life-changing moment. Life-changing moment. So that is definitely like pivotal life moment for the rest of my life. Um, Bora Bora in
Okay.
Tahiti. Wow. I mean, it is heaven on earth. And I think the memory I most fondly remember from that is swimming with the sharks and the eels in this
Oh my
crystal
God.
clear water and it being this connection to something bigger. There was no sense of threat. They didn't find me as something different than them. It was just this like universal connection of animal, spirit, human together, like swimming in the water together. And wow, that was just such an impact. I mean, swimming with sharks, and eels, like,
With the
whoa.
sharks, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And to not feel any fear on either side was just a beautiful experience. And then my third, um, my third would be um, going to Greece. And it's our first night in Greece, and my now husband,
Yeah,
um,
I got the hint from the smile that it must be something romantic.
it's so super romantic. No, he was just my best friend before that.
Yeah.
We'd known each other for 3 years, and he always had his heart set on me. And then we went to Greece just as a friends trip. And the first night that we're there, our balcony, it was an Airbnb, and our balcony literally overlooked the Acropolis. I mean, it was just stunning. And that's kind of the beauty of Airbnbs. And we kissed. And
Oh,
in that moment, I knew that he was the man I was supposed to spend my life with.
that
Yeah.
is the most beautiful memory.
So it's like those
Greece must
three.
have the best effect on you then.
Oh my gosh, it's a very special place for us, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. The moment you started with that smile, I was like, something romantic is gonna come, a story. So
Exactly.
you have really beautiful memories, to be honest. You have one was life changing when you literally changed your life. Then the other was kind of life threatening, to be honest, but then it still counts. And then a third one is all we know. It's beautiful. Well, let's move to the next one. So I think this is something I personally want to know. So you have a travel companion that is a dog, your Tinky, which is like, believe me, you're so lucky for that, I swear. So does the presence of Tinky affects your traveling plans, like the country you're gonna visit or the place you're gonna visit? Does him as a companion affects that the plans?
So I'm so grateful that you brought up little Tinkerbell. So just to be transparent, little Tinky went to doggy heaven this last July. She was 14 and a half, and my goodness, did she live a good life. Literally, that little girl traveled all over the world with me. She's probably been to more places than most humans have. But yeah, a piece of my heart forever went to heaven when she went in July. But as far as travel, it's really not. It's not complicated and it's not hard at all. In fact, she would fly on the plane with me, just like a carry-on suitcase. She just goes under the seat. And most airlines will allow small dogs to fly, so you just have to get like a health certificate. It's not a big deal. Actually, just the vaccinations, not even go to the vet, just the vaccinations, which is standard. You normally, as a pet owner, you would have that. Um, and so there's that. And then it's really just a matter of looking at hotels and Airbnbs that will allow pets. Often they don't even charge extra for it. So does it minimize like your whole view option list? Yeah, to some extent it does. But we never had a problem finding like amazing places that would allow her to be with us. And it's like, that was a part of the deal. Like she's coming, she's coming with us. So yeah, it's so much easier to travel with a pet than a lot of people realize, and truly such a blessing to be able to have your precious baby
Yeah.
with you when you go.
Um, this one was something which you would like to explore more, I guess, is when you travel, what is the best part that, excites you the most, from people to culture to food and, history? So which is the best part? Or you can, name them as list wise or something like that.
Okay, so immediately food. Like I love food and I love
Yeah.
to eat. Yeah, like
The food is life, yeah.
seriously, food is so life. And what I love about food and trying new food in different cities and different cultures is that there is so much authentic culture in the food of where you go. People really like to express themselves with the different plates that they have, the different ingredients that they have, and they're really proud of it. Plus, like you get to try different spices and different ways things are prepared. So it's just very exciting for me. Like I can't wait to try something that's authentic to that city, even if it's like I don't know, a little crazy. I'm totally open to
But
the
that's the
experience.
part of traveling, that's the excitement of traveling.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Trying the food and trying like a restaurant that's, off the charts over there. Um, just the local, like what the locals would eat, where they would
You,
go,
you
like
must
that.
have tried so you must have tried so many street foods,
Oh my
right?
gosh. Yeah, like trust me. And you know what's so funny about that is that every single person that travels with me, this is how I love to eat. So every single person is like halfway through the trip, they're like, I can't eat anymore. I'm so full. And I'm like,
But
but what
that's
about
the
this? We
best.
gotta go try it. Yeah. Yeah. Life's too short.
That,
Life's
you
too
must
short.
be accustomed to almost every spice, I must say. Like most of the people, they have like trying adjusting to different kind of spices. But then I think that won't be an issue for you.
I
It
stay
must not.
open. Yeah, I'm just open. And some things are more spicy than others and different flavors and they're interesting. But I think just being open to the experience is what it's all about. So food is for sure at the top of my list. I would also say what I love about traveling too is people watching. Um, And I particularly love this about when I'm staying in an Airbnb and I have a balcony and I can literally stand on the balcony and look over and watch people just in their daily life,
You know,
see what they
observe.
do, how they interact with each other, what their mannerisms are, because it's so different than what my experience is. And so what that does for me when I talk about that expansion, that totally expands my mind to like new ways of doing things and how, cultures work and things like that. So that's something I really love to do.
uh, you have this project, you're associated with the Light Walk project.
Mhm.
So, what is that about? If you would like to share with the viewers, how did it start and what's the cause and how it's going? It's most of the things, like basic things.
Absolutely. So that is definitely like a passion project for me. And the whole concept around the Lightwalk project, I'm actually the founder and the creator of it, is creating light. People gravitate towards light. And the whole concept is having people come together who don't know each other. And what we do is we walk holding a light for a certain amount of time. And we are the light in the darkness that other people can see to inspire hope.
Illuminating the world.
Yeah, and I think, that's when I've been asked, what do you think the world needs of, my answer is always hope. So that's really what the Light Walk Project is about, is creating hope by people coming together and creating light. And then people that are watching that happen feel inspired, feel hopeful. They see light and they feel something. And I launched it for the first time right before we left Paris back in December 2019. We did our first light walk, and I barely announced it. And about 10 to 15 people showed up.
That's
And I
great.
didn't know
That's a great
yeah, I didn't even, and this is like without even really, I just wanted to see what it would look like to like try it. And these are people I didn't know, that I wasn't connected to, that just showed up because they believed in the purpose of creating
Yeah,
light.
because
Yeah.
the initiative was so nice. Obviously, people would like to, be a part of it.
Yeah. And I think right now, I think more than anything, the world needs that light. But I think, for the safety and health of the current situation, it's been on
Yeah.
pause for a moment. But it's definitely something I aim to pursue and continue for sure.
So this one is a bit, off, but like I was really wondering if it can actually happen. Since you have been accustomed to traveling a lot, so does jet lag actually affects you, or like you are just used to it by now?
So it's funny. Really, when you're living in Europe and traveling around Europe, it's like a 2-hour flight to a new country. So jet lag doesn't even, it's
Okay.
non-existent, which is such a huge
Okay.
benefit to like living and traveling around Europe. Is it's like 2 hours you're in a new country, 2 hours you're in a new country, and even to parts of Africa too. Like you can get to Africa in 4 hours. You can get to Tel Aviv in 4 hours, 5 hours. So it's not that much, but really I'd say the jet lag can play and creep in when it's those long haul flights like to the US from Europe
Yeah.
back. Usually it's back because you lose 9 hours coming from like California back to Paris. And I lost 9 hours just in time difference. And then my sleep schedule's a little off. Um, but it's only usually on the way back. But there's ways around that too, like drinking lots of water and just watching movies and that. What I suggest for people who are traveling from the U.S. to Europe when they first start is to just stay up as long as you possibly can the first day you get there, and then fall into the schedule, because then you start to acclimate pretty quick.
So how this one is, especially for someone like me who likes to travel and pack their entire wardrobe, to be honest. So you, by your experience, you must have these tricks or tips to pack your bags. So how do you exactly pack your bags, and how would you suggest others to pack their bags if they love to carry as much as clothes they can?
So I have to be totally honest that that is not something I have mastered very well. I still get the FOMO of, what if I want to wear that? Like, or what if I want to wear that? And
That's the thing, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
like, what if that's the outfit that I want to wear and I don't have it, or like, and that still comes up for me on a regular basis. So here's how I've kind of tricked myself into not doing that. I used to pack like a week in advance.
Oh my God.
Literally, my bag would be open, it would be folded, I'd be almost ready. And then what happens is I start to add more clothes because I see more clothes in my closet and I'm like, oh, wait, I want to take that. Oh, wait, I want to take that. And then next thing I know, I'm like, I have way too much stuff. It's going to be crazy. So I tried now to pack the day before. And that way I
Okay.
don't have that amount of time to throw a bunch more stuff in. And it's
To be honest, yeah, you don't allow yourself, the chance to get your eye on the clothes so that they simply won't be on the back.
exactly, exactly. So that's really like what's helped me combat that. Also, what is so important to remember, and this is something I tell myself every single time I want to continue packing more, is that everything that I will need, if I don't have it, I can buy it there. I can buy it
Oh,
there.
okay.
And leaving room in my bag gives me an opportunity to buy something that's unique to where I'm going and be able to pack it and bring it back. So you can buy it there. You know, everything that you think that you're going to need, you can find there. You don't need to pack
That,
it all.
that's a smart move. Although
Mm.
it's not healthy, I must tell you, but then that's a smart move.
Yeah, like
Okay.
shampoo, conditioner, go to the store when you get there and get those things. Body wash, go to the store and get there, unless you have sensitive skin, like specifics. But you can buy all that there, and then you can leave it there if you want, you know? So it's, you don't need to take those types of things.
So basically, you must have tried these kind of, a tidbit things from in almost 23 countries, or at least your neighboring countries. You must have tried at least, 23 countries of shampoo or soaps, or I don't know, things like that. But then you must have tried things like that. That's a wholesome experience in its own.
Yeah, and even the products that the Airbnbs leave in their showers for you is like, oh, what's this?
That,
Yeah, and in
yeah.
hotels they have their own brands, so you get to kind of try different things and if it smells nice or if it doesn't smell so nice, and you're like, yeah, that's not working.
You must have some hobby related to that by now. You must have, maybe. I mean, I'm just guessing it.
Have some what?
Some hobby, to maybe collect something or something like that.
So what I actually do collect, there's two things. I actually started doing this like towards the like I don't know, in 2019 is I started to collect ornaments
Oh,
um
okay.
to like hang on our Christmas tree. Because I feel like that's something I can keep forever, and every time that we put them out, it's like reliving those experiences.
Yeah.
Um, and so I started doing that. But before that, something I've done since I started traveling was every new city that I go to, I like to buy just an article of clothing. It could be socks, it could be, a hat, it could be anything. But the tag has to say made in that city.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's kind of the point sometimes, for to bring out the memory.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
those shirts we have, they have the name of the destination and we wear it like we went that place, something like
Exactly.
that.
Yeah, yeah. And just I think that's a really good way to support local business for one. And it's
Actually,
like
it is, yeah.
made, yeah, made in that city. Somebody from this city made it here, and I'm gonna take it back with me. Yeah.
So, depending on the current situation, like, how did that affect you? I mean, when was the last time that you visited a new place? And depending on the current situation, are you like still traveling, but then obviously with restrictions kind of things?
So most of our travel plans have been postponed. However, the I did get to go to Angel Fire in New Mexico, which is much different than like Paris or Italy, but it's still something new, which I appreciate. And that was back in November, which I did actually fly to Albuquerque for the holidays, which was an experience going by plane because it's the first time that I had last year. And it was a relatively smooth experience, which was relief. And then Angel Fire was a nice little like road trip, mountain trip, which was nice. But as far as other travel plans, like we were normally traveling somewhere new every week to a new country, like every month. Like that was kind of the norm.
That was, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so we were actually supposed to get married in the Amalfi Coast
Oh,
last September, and so that all had to be postponed, which is fine. Everything happens the way it's supposed to, and it'll still happen.
next one is kind of something that our viewers would be really interested in, to be honest. Since you have been to so many countries, you must have this. Since, like, in traveling, most of our budget usually goes to the transport, especially if we are using flights. So you must have this particular time that you usually use to book your flight. So if that is something that you would like to comment on, the best time to book your flights, basically.
Absolutely. So it used to be Tuesdays were the best for flight deals. I don't know if that's as relevant right now, but Tuesdays were like known for booking the best flight deals. Um, as far as just as some insider tips for Europe and booking travel, when to travel, because I think that also saves on costs and it's just a better experience. For Europe specifically, I always suggest to get there in May or September. And the reason is because it's less expensive, there's less people there, the weather is nice, and you really get to experience the city on your terms. So, yeah, May and September are definitely the times to travel to Europe.
You
Hmm.
can be a travel guide, like literally the travel guide of, the one traveler in the group or in the family who has like everything, the all-rounder kind of thing.
I'm Dora the Explorer, remember?
Yeah. Okay. Well, so my concluding one would be something again which will be really interesting for especially the new travelers or for someone who's traveling to a new country is like 5 tips that you think are the most basic but the most impactful tips that someone should keep in mind, especially traveling to a new country or maybe a new traveler, something like that. Maybe in general for traveling. So
Okay,
what
perfect.
would that?
Yeah,
At
so
least 5 tips.
five travel tips. Let's see. So, what I would always suggest, because people tend to have a limited amount of time. I mean, when you travel,
Yeah.
you have this amount of time and you want to see things and whatever. So, what I always suggest, especially in like bigger metropolitan cities, is if there is a hop on, hop off bus, even though it's super touristy, I know that. Like, I'm not all about doing the touristy stuff, but if there is that, get on that when you get there, because then you get to see all the major landmarks, you get to hit on them, you get to see them, and then you get to decide where you want to spend your time. And should you not go see that in the end, like, you at least saw it on the bus and got some
Yeah.
history on it. So that way you feel like you don't miss out. You feel like you really kind of got to see everything on the big picture, and then you get to choose, okay, yeah, let's go look at that more.
You
So
have
do
a
that.
background, like, yeah, at
Yeah.
least an outline of the whatever destination it is. Yeah.
Exactly. So doing that first thing, because then you can kind of plan out from there. And they usually have those in big metropolitan cities, so you can find them pretty easily, and they're not very expensive. So it's like, I don't know, $35 for the whole day, and you can hop on and hop off and hop on as many times as you want. So it's a really nice way to get around and see what you want, and then decide from there what you want to do for the rest of your time.
Yeah.
Um, let's see what else. I would probably suggest. This is something I love to do, is ask the locals what they would do. And specifically, when you get a cab from the airport, talk to the taxi driver and ask him what his favorite restaurant is. Ask him, say, hey, where
That's
would you go eat? What are your favorite places? Because then you really get to experience
the
local
local.
culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, some of the most amazing places I've ever been to have been from people who told me those places and stories of like, go here and go here. And then you get something that you don't read about in the books. You get your own unique experience?
Yeah. That's really wholesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's definitely one. I would probably, like I was saying with the packing, leave room in your luggage. You can buy things there. Like, you can find new clothes there. It gives you an opportunity to go explore, and then leaving a little extra room. Especially if you're traveling by train. Trust me, you do not want a big heavy bag going on the train. That was a hard lesson for me, trying to lug a 50-pound bag up the stairs on the train and putting it on the top. No, it's not a fun experience. So pack as light as you can, leave some room in your luggage, and allow yourself to fill that with things that you get to take back with you from that experience. Um, let's see. Number 4, I would say something I love to do, and I always recommend everybody does, is to do a walking, a bike, or a food tour while you're in the city.
Yeah, that's great.
And yeah, what that does is it kind of takes you down different ways you wouldn't normally go, and try to find a local person to do it with, because then they'll give you their spin, their take on these different places, and often take you to like the local favorite spots, local best foods. They'll give you like things about the city that only a local person would know. And having that walking, bike or food tour experience, it's sometimes the one of the most memorable things that you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if food is involved, that's always a plus. So, yeah. Then you
You are
can
happy
watch
with the
bike
food, I
talk.
can see that.
Yeah, and there's companies that offer that pretty easily. Like Viator has solutions for that, as well as Airbnb Experiences has things like that. So you get to find what works for you and schedule it based on your agenda, and it's a really cool experience. And other people are doing it with you, so you kind of get to meet new people in that way. So that would
That's great.
be, yeah,
So,
yeah.
was this a trial and error method? Like you explored this, you discovered everything on your own. Like it must be, really beautiful, because these are the things which I don't usually hear from, on a traveling tips or something like that. This is something that you have like discovered on your own.
Oh, well, thank you. That means a lot to me. To me, it's like, oh, I think everybody does this, but this has just been
No,
my.
it's never crossed my mind, things like that to ask the locals and things, but they are really actually helpful.
And they love to tell you about their city. They love to. They take so much pride in their city, and they
Yeah.
never get asked what their favorite restaurant is. Not where the tourists go, not the go-to answer of like the famous place. Where would you go to dinner? And then people are like,
They
oh
can
yeah, I would
instantly
go here.
connect.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's something that you wouldn't read about and you wouldn't know about unless you heard from somebody locally there. So it's really cool. Yeah. But thank you for that compliment. That's amazing to hear that feedback. I really
Of
appreciate that.
course, of course.
Yeah. And then I think so number 5, I would say the most important thing is make sure just to stop and be present. Like when you go to a new city and a new country, you want to hit on all the landmarks and you want to see the things to feel like you had a complete trip. But really, like when you stop and just watch, people watch and sit down and enjoy yourself and be present in that moment, that's when you
Yeah.
get to experience the culture. That's when you really get to like stop and take that deep breath that you go on vacation for in the first place. Like that, oh, yeah, this is nice. Have your glass of wine or your sparkling water or your snack, and just be there with the culture, with the people, and be present to it. That would probably be like the biggest thing I would say for anybody traveling to a new country.
Yeah. I mean, not just the pictures or the snaps. Actually, being there is something, people need to know. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot again. Thanks again for, accepting the invite and giving us your time for the project. But this was really great. I know the viewers gonna love it because I loved it.
Oh, thank you. It's a total pleasure to be here and share this with you.